Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the new moon in Gemini taking place on May 30th, 2022, 7:30 a.m. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please check a time zone converter for your local time. This is the Lightworker energy update for this lunation. This new moon in Gemini comes off the heels of an exciting eclipse cycle that we have just completed on the Taurus Scorpio eclipse axis and is giving us some much needed time to integrate the revelations that occurred during that eclipse cycle. Here is our new moon at the 9th degree of Gemini. And this new moon is making aspects to Chariklo by trine right here, to a Mars and Jupiter conjunction right here in Aries via sextile, and Chiron right here in Aries via sextile. And it's making a square to Juno here in Pisces. When you put all of these together, what you get is a lot of illumination about what things aren't, interestingly enough, some places where we might be wounded in the world of relationship, and where and how we're willing to make change and co-author and co-create change with life itself. Chariklo here represents our capacity to have divine helpers intercede on our behalf and help us get what we need for our lives to move forward. In the mythology, Chariklos serves as a handmaiden to one of the goddesses in the Greek pantheon, and it was verboten to look at a goddess when the goddess was naked, or a god in their true form. It was forbidden. And the punishment was to be struck blind should you have seen one of the gods or the goddesses in their true form. One day, said goddess was bathing at a river, and across the river, a man shows up, looks up, sees the goddess in her true form, and is immediately struck blind. But what's realized as the story unfolds is said man is Chariklo's son, and her son is a hunter and is unable to do what he needs to do in order to fulfill his work. So she begs, she implores, she pleads with the goddess with whom she is serving. Please, please give my son his sight back. And because of Chariklo's service and because of her loyalty, and she knows that her son knows the penalty and would not have looked upon her had he been clear that it was indeed an accident, she decides not to give her son his sight back, but instead to provide her son with the gift of second sight. And with his third eye open, he moves from being a hunter to being a seer. His life forever changed. Something restored, not exactly what was taken, but something that leads to a better path forward. Where you have experienced a loss in this period of time, from January through now, through the eclipse cycle, while there may not be an exact reparation for what you have lost, or an exact recompense, an exact giving back, this particular new moon in Gemini does give you the opportunity to communicate. That's what Gemini brings, with intercessors on your behalf, with the divine, whether you believe in angels or spirit guides or Holy Spirit, whomever you pray with and to help facilitate you bringing your prayers to source. Whomever you speak to them now. This is the opportunity to get back something much better than what you have lost, even if what you have lost wasn't by your own hand. Prayers are heard under a transit like this. And this is only further amplified that there's a co-creation here with the fact that the Jupiter-Mars conjunction taking place in Aries is sextile to this new moon. The trine, air to air, brings ease and flow, gift given. However, the sextile brings gift via our own labor and efforts, the 60-degree angle. Jupiter, Mars are our two masculine energies of the zodiac. Mars being incarnate, masculine energy, drive, willpower, ambition, forward momentum. Jupiter being our divine masculine energy, provide, protect, co and procreate. When you put these two things together in the first masculine sign of the zodiac, that's Aries, we get an opportunity to combine our internal masculine energy with our prayers to be able to open a portal to a new future that previously didn't exist. It is neither by the divine doing it all for us, forcing our blessings upon us, nor is it by our own hand that these things occur. I have a friend of mine who's famous for saying, quoting, I think it's biblical scripture, faith without works is dead. The same is true under a new moon like this. New moons portend new beginnings. This is about pairing walk with talk. This is about speaking what you want and following up with action, being clear about what you're headed, where you're headed and what you're asking for, and allowing action and activity to be a part of how you get it. You cannot have one with the other at this new moon, but where you are willing to combine both, portals open, magic occurs, miracles unfold, and this becomes our opportunity here. With Juno, the energy of divine counterpartship and partnership here in the mix in square to this particular new moon in Gemini. Squares show us where there is tension, where the energies do not flow smoothly. They give us the precise amount of tension needed to facilitate motivation, whether it's a partnership that you'd like to release or a partnership that you'd like to step into, romantic, business, creative, otherwise. This partnership energy at a square to this new moon, this new beginning energy, is allowing us correct motivation, giving us the opportunity to have a little bit of fire in our belly while we go after pursuing this new beginning. And this particular Chiron sextile to the new moon as well. Chiron represents our woundedness. Chiron in the mix is surfacing the places where we may feel not good enough to, in fact, have what it is we say that we want. And yet, and still, prayers are able to be answered despite the fact that we don't feel like we've warranted them. Jupiter and Mars are coming together, giving us the motivation to go after these things in spite of our maybe failures in history around getting what certain things we want. And this is, in fact, what we call grace. In the world of religion, I don't know what religion you may be party to or follow, we can define grace as unwarranted favor, undeserved favor. Whether or not you have been able to facilitate this portal opening to your new beginning in the past, whether or not you've done things to earn it or deserve it, whether or not you've done things to not deserve it and not earn it, doesn't matter at this point. This is a moment giving us the opportunity for clean slate. This is the moment giving us the opportunity for a new beginning. And the new beginning is here, both from within us and with help from outside of us, whether we want it, deserve it, have earned it or not, it's here anyway. And so I guess the caution that I have for all of us as we step into this energy, is don't block your own blessings. Don't throw away your own grace. Don't give up that grace. Do not, kind of dissolve or turn your back on your own favor. All human beings with the divine spark within us deserve the opportunity to begin again. And this is your chance as well. This new moon in Gemini facilitates, it's one of the beginning new moons, these eclipse new and full moons that we've had leading up to this new moon is part of a larger conversation where Uranus and the North Node are going to come together and speak to one another later on this summer and about the July part. And this is part of a dawning epiphany about the direction we need to go in order to foster life. And so, this dawning epiphany, this new moon, and the energy surrounding it is giving us, some lights on as we move toward this conjunction between Uranus, divine insight, and the North Node, the direction we're meant to travel. It's giving us an opportunity to come in contact with the ideas that divine would place in our head and heart to be able to manifest our divinity here on earth, earth sign Taurus, through our own bodies. It's said of the many great philosophers, poets, and inventors of our lifetimes that they couldn't have done it on their own, that those ideas and that gifting was placed in them by the hand of the divine. And through transits like this, there will be ideas, epiphanies, insights that come to you as prayers answered. And the co-creative energy of this, you asking for the prayer to be answered by the divine, and then you answering that you've heard the divine's answer to you through your actions. This combination is the alchemical life force needed to, again, as I say, open portals to new futures. In other words, to do things to get things we've never had, we have to be willing to do things we've never done. We need to be willing to facilitate and step into a new incarnation of the divine within us in order to be able to live out heaven on earth around us here on earth. It's an exciting and it's a beautiful time. It has come with some sharp and painful wake-up calls in the weeks leading up to this, but these wake-up calls were what was needed in order for us to get going. Okay, if in fact you want to talk through how to work with this energy, especially that Uranus North Node conjunction, which will unfold for us as we get toward the end of July, this new beginning energy, this turning of a page energy, you're not quite sure how to leverage it given the challenges in your life, whether you're challenged in career, challenged in love, challenged in health, challenged with family, challenged with education. This is a great time to book a reading. My calendar is open. You can find me at kmoonastro.com. Link is below this video. We can set up some time to look at how you can facilitate breakthrough and what in the planetary energies you can utilize to help you move forward and get to that new beginning, especially if you feel like you've spent last year, this year, the post-pandemic years, spinning your wheels and trying to get off the ground and trying to get things moving forward. This is a great time to leverage the information in your chart to move beyond your self-contained loops so that you can have your breakthrough in 2022 as well. Let's have a look at some of the other energies of this lunation and how they support this breakthrough energy together. We've got a Mercury retrograde in full effect here at the 26th degree of Taurus, speaking in combination, in harmony with Pluto, which is also retrograde at this time. Pluto is an earth sign Capricorn. Mercury is an earth sign Taurus. With Mercury retrograde, it's an opportunity to think, reflect, revisit, redo, recommunicate. with this Mercury retrograde speaking with Pluto via the trine, whenever Pluto and Mercury come together harmoniously, we get the opportunity to see deeply and even more clearly than we've been able to see before, to understand complex concepts with a depth of insight that we may not have had access to before. We get the opportunity to get to the bottom with our rational mind of why we may have been stuck in certain places, especially places Plutonian. Pluto rules death and ending. If there are places in life where you have been stuck over an ending, stuck over a completion, and not able to move forward, not able to heal, not able to take advantage of a new beginning, this Mercury retrograde, because Mercury likes to reflect when it's in retrograde, in combination with this Pluto, will help facilitate some catalytic thinking, catalyzing thoughts, some awarenesses and epiphanies that will move you forward at this time. Hallelujah. Thank God. This is amazing energy. It's a chance to break through your own self created limiting beliefs. None of us are victims to what's happened to us. All of us have the opportunity to transcend it. And this is the moment where emotionally we can get unstuck by linking heart and mind to get clarity about why we have been stuck in places we've been stuck before. Forgive and let go, release and move forward. And this is only further echoed by the way Saturn here is also having a conversation with this Mercury retrograde. Whenever Saturn touches a planetary energy, a house, or a sign, Saturn wants to restore integrity. It wants things to come back into alignment. The root word in the word integrity is integer. When you look that up and the etymological roots of the word, we get wholeness, completeness, the opportunity for all parts to be included, no part locked away, shaved off, or repressed. Everything on the table. With Mercury in square to this Saturn here from air sign Aquarius, this is giving us a lot of rumination that can lead to illumination. Deep thoughts can lead to profound insights with this combination. And there's also some big changes in our third dimensional realities that require new thoughts, new approaches, and new decisions. For many of you, the eclipses brought some changes in the configuration of your life, either living circumstance, health circumstance, family configuration, comings and goings of new family members, births, deaths. You may have experienced through this eclipse cycle changes in relationship status, coming together, going apart. You may have experienced changes on the work front, getting a job, leaving a job, starting a business, winding a business down. Whatever the change has been through this eclipse cycle, this Saturn square from this Mercury retrograde at this time is saying now's the opportunity to think through what has happened, get into orientation with the truth, relate to the difficult truths that must be faced for your life to move forward in a positive direction. There are some undeniable truths here. And in facing those truths, this is the opportunity where we can create new boundaries, new structures. Saturn here represents boundaries and structures that allow us to positively direct our life force energy into our new beginning. Okay. However, spinning isn't going to do it. It's facing these hard truths and then making appropriate new decisions. The fun thing about the word decision, and I'm using fun as how do I say that? I'm using fun as Sarcasm. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for here. For those of you who don't know my sense of humor, this is me telling you, haha, funny, not funny, really, sarcasm. The fun thing about the word decision and decide is it has the exact same root word as homicide, suicide, herbicide, pesticide, right? The CIDE component of this word speaks about closing off, killing off a pathway that was previously open to you. The eclipses would have closed certain doors. Now, this Saturn square to this Mercury retrograde is our opportunity to find our way internally to get right with that we cannot necessarily, it's not possible when certain things are done to bring them back to life. We need to make our peace with what is done. What's done is done. And it's time now to utilize what we have within us and what we have left around us, marshal our internal forces to move forward for the greater good of all. Now, what's interesting is Saturn sits here in the sign of the greater good, the sign of the all man, humanitarian. That's Aquarius. And in recognizing that I can't ruminate over the past or linger over spilt milk any longer, it is time for me to learn what there is to learn in this and move forward, make new decisions, close off pathways to things that weren't working before so that I can have life in a direction that does work. That's the opportunity with both Saturn and Pluto speaking here to this Mercury retrograde, in addition to Jupiter Mars speaking to this new moon. It's about leveraging that internal masculine energy to direct and guide our own pathway forward, marshaling our God-given abilities to make decisions and go. Unfortunately, some of this is going to be a bit uncomfortable. Hard truths are never easy, particularly to face. And there can, in certain ways, Saturn can represent authority figures, sometimes fathers in our lives as well. There can be challenges with the 90-degree angle, the square, with authority figures or existing structures of our life that unfortunately are going to need to shift in order for us to have a new kind of either structure or relationship with those authority figures. Okay. There can also be some changes because Mercury here can represent soul family. There can be some changes in soul family as well, siblings, cousins, neighbors, adopted family, and ways in which we keep boundaries with these people. So again, Saturn can represent boundaries. An old way of interacting must come to completion with the truths that have surfaced at these eclipses in the last 4 weeks. Now that the insights have come through, can't keep going like we were, have to do a new thing. Now that these particular insights have come forward, we have to now honor those truths with our actions. We were given the truth as a gift. We now integrate the truth with behaviors. Okay. And there's a level of self awareness in here that's required to really understand what is getting in the way of us having our relationships and the boundaries of our lives. What ways are we holding our own boundaries in ways that don't serve us? Are our boundaries too thick, too high, where we're blocking our blessings? We're not allowing love and light into our lives through unforgiveness of ourselves or others from the past? Are we struggling with too loose of boundaries? Are in the extreme? Are we, letting anyone in, do anything with our time, our energy, our resources? And because of that, we're left spent, depleted, and have nothing left for ourselves. Where you have had a struggle in the world of boundaries throughout, and that would have been illuminated throughout the eclipse cycle, This is now the moment in time where you get the opportunity to create new boundaries, to create a new way of letting life in and letting life flow out. And this is further exemplified here in the chart by the Saturn squaring the nodal axis. And this was going on throughout the eclipse cycle. The nodes and Saturn are going to be in a dance all year long. South node representing what we need to let go of, North node representing what we're all learning and stepping into. Saturn in square to the nodal axis saying, if you want to take a hold of something new in your future, you're going to have to let go of something that is long since dead and gone from your past. You cannot continue to make your past pay for your future. And you have to do whatever you need to do to let it go. Now, for some of you at this lunation, because Mercury is such a significant part of it, Mercury is the ruler of this particular new moon in Gemini, Mercury being the ruler of Gemini, Mercury now being in retrograde, getting all these insights from Saturn and Pluto. For some of you, in order to be able to facilitate a full letting go, you're going to need to have certain conversations in your life with certain people, so that you can move beyond forgiveness, which is what gives us our opportunity to be whole back, or actually make the hurt stop, and move from beyond forgiveness where the hurt has stopped into compassion. Compassion is the next step. Compassion is what gets us beyond making the hurt stop and it gives us our wholeness back. It gives us the chance to be whole again when we can bring compassion to people who have hurt us and our own pain from the past. For some of you, because this new moon in Gemini is so focused on now we've got insights, now let's revisit certain conversations. There are conversations you, in fact, need to have to repair certain relationships. If that's you, then my encouragement is to do it with as much love and understanding and curiosity and open-heartedness as you're able, so that it's not about bringing up the past, but instead it's about understanding what happened so that you can bring the humanity to the person who hurt you and to yourself simultaneously, and bring compassion into the circumstance so that now the hurt is done because you've forgiven. Now you can take that next step into compassion. For those who have not forgiven yet, this is your opportunity to do what you need to do, to have the conversations you need to have to fully forgive. The forgiveness process is the process. When you look up the word forgiveness in the etymological dictionary, you guys know I'm a word nerd, so I get into all the roots of words and whatnot. When you look up the roots of the word forgiveness, what's there is what the definition actually means is to cancel a debt. In other words, where something has been taken and is now owed back, to be able to say, you actually owe me nothing. Some of us need to forgive parents. Some of us need to forgive past lovers. Some of us need to forgive ourselves. And some of us need to forgive God. Where forgiveness has not yet taken place in your life, this new moon in Gemini gives you that opportunity to speak to God, speak to your past self, speak to your past lover, whether in spirit or verbally, speak to that parent, speak to that old boss, and have the forgiveness conversation you need to have in order to be able to allow the hurt to stop. That's the critical piece of this. Forgiveness allows the hurt to stop. It cancels the debt. It says, you know what? You did that thing. There was something taken from me, either by life or myself or somebody else's hand, and I am owed that thing back, right? Forgiveness says, I cancel the debt. No one owes anything here. I release you to go live on your in the next highest pathway in your incarnation, and I go live on mine because I am whole and complete on my own. But if you're missing the wholeness piece, there could be a conversation required that allows you access to compassion. And if forgiveness has been done, but pain is still present, compassion is the next step for you. Okay. So these are really complex, rich, beautiful topics that this new moon in Gemini is giving us the opportunity to lean into via the way Saturn is saying, hey, we need to be able to move on in order for us to stand in the greater good, still be of service to humanity here. We got to have some boundaries in order to be able to move on. Pluto here is providing some illumination about some endings in our third dimension and saying, hey, let go. We can't live here anymore, right? And this Mercury retrograde is going, yeah, okay, but how? And so the work here with Saturn and Pluto in the mix and Cheroklo, it being as influential as it is over this new moon, is having those conversations around forgiveness and compassion and letting go. Okay. That's the work. And Cheroklo really is the one that activates this new moon. She's the closest of any of the other planetary energies. She's the one with the most precise degreed angle to this Gemini energy here. And she is saying, yes, I can help you. You only need to ask. If you don't know how to forgive, ask Holy Spirit, ask God, ask your spirit guides, ask your ancestors, whomever you work with in the spiritual realm, ask, I don't know how to forgive. Show me how. I need help to forgive. Where you don't know how to have compassion, this is your moment to ask. Show me how. I need compassion in order to be whole again. Show me how to cultivate that compassion for who I once was, for who somebody else was when they hurt me. Show me the way back to wholeness. All right. So that's how this energy can kind of work here. And this is, I don't know how, I know only 50% of you watch from the United States and the rest of you watch from other places in the world. But the world is in need of this moment of us finding our way to forgiveness and compassion like never before. We've got so much tense energy showing up here on the planet Earth with so many people utilizing, Mars and Aries in shadow, that's warlike energy, adding Jupiter to it that amplifies warlike energy. There's so much energy here at this time that is bringing forward, a lot of pain here on planet Earth. And so, where we can, and I'm sure many of you are witnessing what's taking place here in the United States, we do have a crisis unfolding around what we're going to do about guns and weaponry here in the United States. But there are same crises, different continents all over the world around, how do we sow peace? How do we sow love? How do we find our way to compassion and forgiveness? How do we find our way back to life after death and ending? This is the conversation we, as workers of light, bringers of love, are being asked to stand in at a moment like this. So, where you can engender it in your own life, it gives you the vibration and the frequency to bring it to the lives of all of those around you. And again, call down the heavens to live here on earth through you. Call down the Christ consciousness, the Sophia consciousness, call down love consciousness to live here on earth through us. Okay? All right, let's move forward here. Like I said, if you want to have a conversation about how this all works in your chart, best way, especially if you're feeling stuck in the wake of these eclipses about how to move forward, best way for us to look at that, having a look at your own natal chart. We can look at where the energy is asking you to move, all right, and how to move. There is a little conversation here. Here's Venus, God lover. Venusian energy is what we're drawn to and attracted to, and things that attract us toward it. Venus is, she's sitting with Eris. Eris can bring strife and chaos to the table. Venus is also in square here to Pluto. Square can bring out the shadow energy instead of the light. And so there's no energy here in any of these planets that inherently in and of themselves is bad, right? Many astrologers will talk about Pluto being bad because Pluto represents endings and death, and Mars being bad because um, it represents war and warlike nature and aggression. But that's only if you look at them through one side. And we could look at that would be the equivalent of looking at how do we put it? You know, a child who has been through a traumatic childhood who then grows up to be destructive and self-destructive around other people. And we would go and we'd say that child is bad. No child, no person in and of themselves is inherently bad. All energies are neutral until we put projected perception on them, right? And so, in their neutrality, Mars just represents motivation, forward movement, ambition. When Mars operates in shadow, can we have forward movement, motivation, and ambition to conquer that which is not ours to take? Yeah, sure. But we can also have motivation and ambition to create that which is ours to manifest. Okay. Same here with Pluto and Eris. Pluto represents the alchemical transformation that ends the life cycle of one thing and moves it into another thing. It represents the resurrection cycle, not just death and endings. Resurrection cycle begins with a death, but then there is afterlife and rebirth. There is a new beginning. Eris here, yes, she can represent chaos and strife and discord, but she really only brings that part of herself forward when she recognizes she has been excluded from that which she is also meant to be a part of. When we've got Eris and Pluto in square, a difficult angle to one another, unfortunately, it can be a little bit of a challenge to get them to bring the light out of one another. Instead, they can bring the shadow out of one another. The light side of Eris is protest. It's the kind of protest that really brings down and calls down and the powerful forces that would oppress or exclude you from things that also stand as your birthright, right? That Eris energy is the one that speaks truth to power. With Eris and Pluto in square and Venus in the mix here, there can be in shadow during this new moon. We can utilize this in very retaliatory ways, acting out kind of ways, punishing kind of ways for things that have been hurtful to us in the past. We can utilize this energy. This is the energy of, yeah, I'm going to get this MFer back. I'm going to stick the knife in and I'm going to twist it. I'm going to cause them as much pain as they have caused me. This energy is here if, in fact, we decide to use it in shadow. The opportunity in the light, instead of leveraging this in the shadow, is to really recognize, okay, there have been some things that have been unfair in the way that they have unfolded. Yes, whether it's been unfair by somebody else's choice or simply by the collision of life circumstances, maybe you've been dealt a bad hand. Not all of us get good ones in life. That's life. And simultaneously, this Plutonian energy is giving us the opportunity in this particular circumstance to let go of attachments to storylines of unfairness, to let go of singing the song of life isn't fair, woe is me. And now I need somebody to pay for my pain, or I need to continue to pay for pain I've caused other people. This particular energy in this square is showing us, okay, where things have been unfair and where it's time to let go of our attachment. In shadow, Venus represents attachment, especially in Taurus, where we are beating a dead horse around these things, where we are allowing ourselves, in other words, as living human beings, to dig a grave 6 feet under and lie down in it while we're still breathing. You hear the ridiculousness in this, right? Like, okay, yeah, that happened. It sucked, but you're still breathing. As long as there's still breath, there's still a chance. But you do have to let go of the hand of that which hurt. You can no longer hold on to that if you, in fact, would like a resurrection cycle to take place here. All right. And so that's what this energy is doing. It's giving us, it's shoving in our face that which has been unfair to us and giving us the and still you breathe. So what will you do with your chance? All right. That's what we have going on here. It's a creative life force energy. When Venus and Pluto come together, there's this opportunity to alchemize or create alchemy around that which is ending and that which we are attached to, so that we can formulate a new beginning, a new thing that is unlike anything that has lived before. The square provides the tension that facilitates motivation to do a new thing. All right. Okay. And that's what I got. That's what I got for us for this lunation. There's going to be, this is an lunation of integration. There's been a lot of change in the last 4 to 6 weeks for a lot of people on a lot of fronts, and likely for you as well, especially if you are one of the fixed signs, Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, or Taurus. These eclipses would have hit you the most intently. And so, and the fixed signs are the signs that have the hardest time with change and transformation. Fixed signs are energies that are, they're the gift, they're humanity's gift in the way that they provide continuity. So change isn't their forte. But where you are forced through this eclipse cycle to change, if you have a lot of fixed energy in your chart, you could be a Gemini with a lot of Scorpio energy. You could be, a Capricorn with a lot of Taurus energy. If you have significant fixed placements, your external circumstances would have shifted somehow, some way through this eclipse cycle. And this period of time post eclipse cycle with this Mercury retrograde, new moon in Gemini, is giving you that chance to reflect and make some new decisions. Ask for some help, some intercessory help, because you do have help from the other side. And just muster the courage to try again. There's an innocence in the Aries naivete with Jupiter and Mars here popped out right now in the sign of Aries. Aries, as the first sign of the zodiac, has a naivete to try again, even though things may not have worked out in the past. The Aries energy is imbuing through the energetic fields of all of us that as long as there is still breath in your body, there is still opportunity that God and life is breathing through you. If God hasn't given up on you, you don't give up on you. That's what this is giving us the opportunity to see here. Okay. So, my friends, that's what I have for us at this lunation. Take a deep breath. The worst is behind us for now. We won't get back the things that have changed, but it is an opportunity to get something better. What will you do with your chances? If you'd like to book some time to talk this through, you can find me at kmoonastro.com. There's 1 hour and half-hour readings available there in the next couple of weeks. I'd be honored to chat with you. And I will see you at the next lunation. Take care and bye for now.